Alright, we back. PM session. So, essentially, we got exactly what we wanted, but it all occurred post 11 a.m. and during lunch hour. That is like the one time during the day where I just do not normally trade. For me, lunchtime is just like, if I'm going to be at the charts all day, that 11:30 to 1 o'clock range is usually when I like to have a break. Make lunch, go for a walk, work out, that type of shit. So essentially, I missed this entire move. It's not really something I would have wanted to be involved in from a phone, so I'm glad I wasn't trying to monitor it. I just kind of stepped away and expected that it was probably going to do exactly what I wanted. Now, going into this morning, what I expected was Asia and London highs to be tagged. I expected this major sell side to be taken. What I didn't expect is that we would spend nearly probably about 2 hours consolidating with large ranges, because I mean, this to there, you're 120 points, over 120 points, and I'm pretty sure that move down, yeah, was this move. Was this move right here? Which, I mean, you have a 5 minute gap that you trade into, reject off of, trade above this high, and then just come right back down. So this would have been a tough lunchtime to trade. I think the only thing I noticed coming back to the charts is something I like to do when we get into a range is I like to see where the heck were the SMTs at the lows, just internally. And what we had here was a kind of clear and obvious SMT right here. ES sweeps this low, NQ doesn't. Both of them in the same exact candle create a V-shaped recovery, and then expand from there. So I mean, obviously this trade was pretty freaking nuts if you took it, but I'm pretty sure most people at this point were not were not trading. But this was exactly what I was looking for when I took this trade down here. When I took this 2 minute inversion, this is exactly what I was looking for. I had SMT, or no, actually I didn't have SMT at that time, sorry. But we had a low formed, we were having structure to the buy side. It was exactly what I wanted to see. And then we just see a huge move against us. And then we come back up. Huge move against us, come back up, move against us, up, against us, up. It was a tough day to get positioned into the market, because unless you were lucky to get positioned in an area like this where you had just created a swing low and your stop was below this low, then you were safe. But I think the issue is the stop loss size today was just too much. It was too much for me, because even if you're looking at this 2 minute long that I took, if you wanted to play it safe, I mean, and you got, let's say, a deeper entry inside of it, whatever, I'm just putting it there, like, realistically, your stop should be somewhere down here. But I'm not doing 200 points or 100 point stops. So ultimately, I missed out on today's move. It sucks. It's disappointing, but I'm glad to see that again. Like, I have the correct analysis. I'm just struggling getting myself positioned properly. And I think it just has to do with my inability to take a loss and re-enter on the same idea. I think I've just gotten burned too many times on re-entries. But that was back when I wasn't as good of a trader. So, yeah, just to briefly go over what I had stated for my projections for today. I had that downward trend overnight, creating stack session highs. We traded into previous day low. We're now looking to see what kind of reaction we can get off of that. My bias going into the morning is bullish to the buy side levels here. And then I noted, like right after, because I ran out of characters, but I noted that we do have further sell side below, which is this red line, which is the previous week low. So I'm watching to see if that becomes a necessity first before heading higher, which it ultimately did. It became a necessity for us to take out before heading higher, and we ultimately have done that. Yeah, it just sucks because, I mean, there's obviously some areas where You could have obviously gotten involved, but I'm just looking at this 15 minute though. Or sorry, 15 minute. I just want to see. So that was the start of the 12:30 candle. Because a lot of the times with 15 minute, you want to look for 1 minute confirmations. So it closed right there. So I would say, yes, then I would say the 1 minute confirmation was, I think the 1 minute confirmation was this. So this was the opening of the next 15 minute candle. We had a tiny wick. We traded higher. We retraced into a 1 minute gap, which shows that 1 minute order flow is now, it's continuing bullish. And then once we get this large expansion that takes out this high, this to me would be, I guess, your ideal entry. There. I mean, I guess probably right there. Stop up to there. This would have been, because I like, after the morning session, I think my favorite thing to look at is the 15 minute chart, and then to see where we can get 15 minute retraces and 1 minute confirmations. So the only thing to start looking at now is, what time is it? 28. So there's 1 minute inversion here. I'm not going to take this, but I'm going to tape read this. Where can I tape? I can tape read this on my practice account, I guess. Let's go to, I'm going to tape read this on my practice account. Essentially what I'm looking at is to not get stopped before 1:30, and that, oops, no, not that time frame. And that, oh crap. Whatever the low of this 15 minute candle ends up being, that we tap into that 15 minute. So sometimes I wish I would just by accident take a amazing high risk trade on my real account and not realize until I'm already up a lot of money. How amazing would that be? But how awful would it be if the opposite happened? Yeah, so essentially what I'm looking for is, as long as we don't make a new high before 1:30, I'm looking for the first retrace into a 15 minute gap as my target, and then either break even or closing, because I got a really good entry on the 1 minute here, pretty much right at the closure of the candle. So right here is my entry. Stop loss is at the high. And right now we're basically, wherever we are is the low of the 15 minute at this point, because this is our low. So I'm expecting us to reach into that because of the significance of this high down to this low, like consolidation, false high because we didn't take out any major liquidity. This sweeping both sides, displacement, distribution higher. I'm expecting a retrace into this 15-minute gap, and then potentially we can see a move up into Asia. That would be great. Because, I mean, ultimately, I don't see why we keep going down. Like, we are in such a strong uptrend that there'd have to be a bit more of a catalyst, in my opinion, to send us higher. I just don't think we could just go higher off of, or go lower off of nothing. I think we would need some sort of a news catalyst to send us there. So I mean, I think if we close down here with enough space reasonably, I think I'll probably drag the stop loss down. I mean, if we come back up towards entry, obviously I'm just gonna keep it. Because still for the next 40 seconds, like, we're still completely open to anything happening as long as we don't sweep this high. What we essentially want to see is us open in 30 seconds, and then I guess if this is going to be a little short-term low here, we want to see us manipulate this short-term low into that 15-minute and then expand higher towards Asia. So let's see what we can get here. Again, just tape reading this because this is not a trade entry that I've really ever taken before, so I'm not 100% sure on the exact specifics of how to manage a trade like this. So now the 15 minutes open, so we're right here. We realistically should come down to this level before we hit this high. I would be surprised. I mean, I know obviously we've created a lot of 15-minute gaps, but I mean, anything's possible. I wouldn't be surprised. Nothing surprised me in this market anymore, so looks like we're about to get railed. 130 is opening up very high, very strong. Did we get a 5-minute closure too? No, that didn't close. Closed on the ES, I think. Technically. Tap into a lower. Do we get this 30-second Venom? Come on, displace lower. Let's see it push into the... Ooh. No significance, eh? I guess a little bit. It's 29,000. How are we looking with the VWAP? What does that produce today? Yeah, nothing really. Two minutes. It just sucks because this is what I'm looking for when I trade. Like this type of a move. Where we like form a high, whether it's right after sweeping, whatever the case is, we form a high and then immediately invert it. I'm so annoyed now looking back at it that I was in a long inside of this 1 minute bullish gap on my evals, because I truly thought that, you know what, SMT, double SMT at the lows, previous day lows, swept heavy displacement higher. I mean, like, we were so close to this London high. I'm thinking trade inside of here, stop below here, break even at London, targeting Asia, or targeting some type of push into this new week opening gap. But instead, we get a 1 minute inversion right off of that. We get a 100-point push lower, which no matter what size I would have been in on this trade, which would have been, I mean, looking at it, it would have been one contract, so I would have been up $200. And it would have been, I probably would have taken it off at about here. I would have just taken the 150 and walked away, because I need those days. And yeah, I need those days. So I would have taken the 150, walked away, and I would have just completely enjoyed the rest of my life. So far, looking like we might get a move. I mean, I think if we're looking at what's more likely at this point, this 15-minute tap or this London, or this high here, but we're getting SMT at the lows. ES is tapping into that 15-minute gap. Did it do it? I'm not sure. It's about to. I don't think it has yet, has it? No, it has. So, I mean, I guess I have to go break even, which sucks because it's going to stop me out right now, and it might still go, but we don't want to see that, because right now what we have is SMT. So if we get above these highs, get above London high, we might be able to snag a institutional order flow entry drill. And I'm not saying that this 15-minute isn't in play, but in terms of managing this trade properly, I think the right thing to do would be to go break even there, which I'm about to get tapped in right now. So yeah, there we go. So that's break even. I think that's a fair break even if we turn around and hit it right now, because I think the issue with this trade, or with holding it through this, is that we're very, very bullish with targets still above, and ES tapped into a 15-minute, NQ didn't. We have SMT inside of a 15-minute. We want to see an expansion from here. If we're bullish, we don't want to see us like deeply trade into a 15-minute and fuck around. We want to see immediate expansion to this Asia, and then it can fuck around. Then it can do whatever it wants. So right now we're looking at SMT. I mean, this does look really tempting. I mean, this low should be protected. Yeah, we need a better lighting situation for this. At the end of the day, I mean, I'm just here to be as smart as I possibly can, trade in front of an audience, keep myself in check, keep myself balanced. I think the issue that I'm having though with streaming, because I've done this a long time, just unlisted, and I think what I end up doing is I always end up talking myself out of trades. But yeah, I find I always talk myself out of trades. I don't know. I genuinely don't think though there was a single trade idea that I could have taken. Because even this one, for example, like looking at this 1 minute IFVG, right, you would have gotten a huge expansion the second that candle closed. You would have been break even. I mean, for us to move 47 points, taking out the first high, I mean, you would have been break even from here, and then it would have came right back down. And then you re-entering maybe right here if you have the balls, like, no way. But okay, so far so good. We're seeing a little bit of a consolidation now. We've slowed down. So now really what I want to see at this point is I think what you gotta look for is definitely a drive down into this 15-minute gap. Like, I know we have SMT there, and maybe it works out where we don't need to come down, but to be safe, it would be nice to see that. Yeah, there's not much to look at right now. What we want to see is, I guess, a trade down below this low into this 15-minute gap, and then if we can get a 1-minute confirmation, then I'd be interested in looking for long. So let's see if we can get a push lower. I'm not looking for anything else, I don't think. Oh man, it's hot. Hot in here. Feel disgusting. I just went for a run. So on my break, went for a run, ate, and now I am disgusting and sweaty, but I gotta go cut some grass in a bit. So I decided, you know what, and I gotta wait for a bathtub that's being delivered potentially anytime this afternoon, and I'm the only one home right now, so I can't do really anything until that bathtub gets delivered. So I was like, whatever, I'll go live for PM even though I don't have much hope. But yeah, holding higher. I mean, for ES personally, I guess trading into this 405 level and kind of finding support at it would indicate to me that this move might not be completely over. The thing that sucks is that there's no real reasonable area for us to retrace. Like, we have moved, 500 points from the lows. Like, the craziest part about this entire freaking trade is that, or this entire day, is that if I had just taken this CISD like I was thinking at the time, and I just held through all this crap, which I definitely never would have, because you'd have to be a literal psychopath to. But if I had somehow been able to hold through all of this would have been the fucking trade of a century. Because, I mean, yeah, the only thing that sucks is this would have probably been break even when we tagged this. And then we came down here and then put in a new high. We would have it's almost like that was specifically engineered for people who were long from that low. Alright, here we go. Finally, we got a tag into this 15 minutes. So that trade would have worked out. Nice to know. I think it makes sense because we haven't had a single retrace on the 15 minute. It just sucks that it took an entire almost 20 minutes for it to occur. But we are seeing some heavy displacement now. I'm liking this as a kind of manipulation leg. Potentially we can see what kind of a flip. I think honestly I like this 2 minute. Like, if we can not form any more gaps, this kind of 2 minute stacked gaps right here, if we get above that, I think we could see this Asia high. So let's see what we get from here. Yeah, we're getting a deep retracement. I mean, preferably I wouldn't like to see us come back down below midnight opening price. Because on the 15 minute, like the best place you can anchor it to is down here, and there's no way I want to see us come down here. So I'm looking to see what we can get off of here. There's going to be a 2 minute, but I'm almost liking these 2 1 minute candles right here because there's a nice little volume imbalance in there, which makes it easy to combine them without feeling like you're cheating the time frames. Because technically speaking, actually that is the 2 minute right there. Okay, we'll see. We'll see if we can get some displacement here. There's no way. And I also like too how there's clear and obvious kind of stacked liquidity on both. Y cholo. Yeah, 1-to-1, that's nice actually, because what we could do is break even on that high, trading right to there. This would be amazing. 100 points, Asia high. It would eradicate the previous loss and give us a $150 day. But we would need to see some displacement. Wow. It's been almost an hour now, so hopefully that means good. I'm so nervous. I don't know, man. I see a lot of people on Twitter right now talking about this 15-minute. I'm sorry, but who the fudge is taking 150 point stop loss? Like, I get it's a 1.5 hour trade or 1.37 or whatever it ends up being, wherever you have your final TP. But why? You're not an idiot for not taking a 150 point stop loss. Like, that's a $310 risk trade. Like, you're telling me people trading 25K, 50K funded accounts are going to be taking that? No freaking way, dog. No way. That's why I said the 1 minute confirmation, because then the 1 minute confirmation becomes your trade. You're trading internal structure. You know, so if this was your 1 minute confirmation when this candle closed, and you entered here and you put your stop below that 1 minute candle, then you have clear and obvious break-even levels. Like, when we hit this high, you're break-even. You don't want to see all of this get taken. But okay, I think this is looking stronger now. If we can get a push higher, if this 2 minute or this 1 minute here can flip, we could be in for a really, really nice long to Asia high. But we are seeing quite a significant drop. As long as we don't flip this first 15-minute gap, then... Okay, here we go. Tap into the lower 15. This is good. Okay, this is kind of our last line of defense. I don't really want to see price come any lower. we have a minor SMT here. I mean, I'm not saying minor, but we have an SMT here. The reason why this is significant is because it is a 15-minute candle low, which coincides with this 15-minute gap. Whatever, I'll just put it right there because I think it's the next candle. But SMT here, ES failed to take it. ES still has a lot of liquidity to work with. These minor highs that it took out were really nothing. So we're seeing a real big pop right now. The problem is, where is the optimal trade entry? Is it this 1 minute right here? Or is it... I mean, I think this is an obvious trade on the funded, or on the evals at least, but... I really like how we tapped into a lower 15-minute. We're seeing a strong bounce. This is strong. Get this flip. We have changes to delivery. We have a clear break-even level here. I'm thinking of that. Alright, we're in this long right now. Break-even level is above this high right here. Let's see what we can produce. I have my stop loss actually at the halfway point, just below the halfway point of this wick, because really speaking, if we're going to come down to this wick, I don't want to, like, if we're going to come down to halfway point of this wick, the trade's dead anyways. So, I mean, my stop should be about 18. So I'll move it down just a tad. There we go. Bang, right there. Alright. We're good. I'm happy. I don't want to see us come to 50% of this wick. That would just invalidate the trade, because for us to come down here anyways would mean we probably closed below this 1 minute inversion, which is not ideal. Alright, that is break even, except I'm not going to go break even there. I'm going to bring my stop up to the low of this IFEG because we have utilized it, so I should expect us to not come back down here, so we're only risking about 15 points, give or take. So that's about $30 of risk is left on the table right now. I think realistically break even on this eval trade would be probably if we flip this. But I think we're going to call it there because we do have to go, so I'm going to monitor this trade on the background, see how we do.